YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, what is going on? Y'all already know it is your trusted source for all things funding, all things real estate, all things credit. Look, y'all better hurry up and get in here. I got about 15 minutes today because I'm not sure if y'all hearing what's going on, but banks are starting to tighten up right now. The banks are tightening up right now. So y'all want to tune in. I got about 15 minutes. I want to talk about what's going on in the world of banking. Banks are starting to tighten up right now. Buy, sell, invest. What's going on with you? All right. Y'all let me know what city y'all chiming in from. Is this the pre-show Katina said? I guess something like that, Katina. Tommy, what up, man? What up? All right, so let me just hop right into this. Now I'm looking at two different screens. I got YouTube, Facebook, I got Instagram. All right, so look, banks are tightening up right now. I actually just left a very important meeting earlier today. I was in a room full of bank execs, and here's what's taking place. They understand that people are scrambling. They understand that people are fearful. Stock market is volatile. Crypto is volatile. And here's what banks, and here's their consensus of how they know. Now, let me rewind a little bit. Very successful beings make all their decisions based off of data. Okay? Banks, businesses, executives, CEOs, they make all decisions based off of data. So even when you're pulling information that utilizes an algorithm to give you a decision, it's all based off of data. I'll give you an example. Did you know that all banks have a preconceived notion based upon your credit score and other predetermined factors in how they decide to lend to people? So this is why if you have a certain credit score, there's a certain amount that they will lend to you. And if you don't meet that minimum credit score criteria, they have a default of data that says statistically, if a person has a 610 credit score, they have a 70% chance of defaulting. Okay, I'm kind of setting the preference of how data is mined. Okay, so when you're filling out a bank application, most credit applications go through an automated system and not necessarily an actual underwriter. This is why when you fill out an app online, typically you will get a lower approval versus going through an actual manual underwriting, because with manual underwriting, they're considering multiple factors. When you submit online, they use data. So they look at, okay, the DTI is here. The credit score is here. This is what they put for income. This is how much their rent or mortgage. So for another example, did you guys know the higher you put your rent or mortgage, it actually increases your debt to income ratio, which will shrink your approvals depending on your income? Again, they're utilizing data. So now, what does all of this mean? Essentially, when I had this meeting with these bankers today, they're telling me that they're actually starting to tighten up. As a matter of fact, some of you have already seen what Chase has been doing. If your Chase business credit cards are maxed out, they are on your personal credit. If anybody's experiencing this, put one in the chat. If your business Chase credit cards are maxed out or close to being maxed out, they are now reporting that on your personal credit. Why? That is what is called recourse for the banks. The banks are saying, hey, we already know statistically when money tightens up, the first thing people stop paying is their credit cards. So our recourse is let's jam up their personal credit, because they already know statistically, if you have a higher credit score, you're much more likely to commit to paying your revolving credit. So Chase Bank is putting business credit card debt on the personal credit if you are close to being maxed out. This is why I tell people, you want to actually get more credit than you need when you're playing leveraging the credit game. That's the first factor. The second thing, Bank of America, they're notorious for this. They are closing people's accounts out right now. They don't care if you have a limit. They don't care if you have a balance. They don't care if your credit card is maxed out. They are closing people accounts, and you still have to pay the debt. Still have to pay the debt. Bank of America, they're actively sending, especially if you're not using the money, they are going to close your accounts. Okay. So now, what does all of this mean? Or let me give you one more. Then I'm going to tell you what all this means. Banks are now getting away from utilizing foreign filings. Let me say that again. Banks are now actually getting away from utilizing foreign filings. And one of the things that with this whole BOI and why they would say it's mandatory, it's not, they're actually trying to figure out how to make people file BOI solely just for foreign entities and foreign filings. Okay. Now, what does all of this mean? Essentially, this just means that the banks are making it a little bit more restrictive on their lending practices, but it doesn't mean that they are not going to be lending. How do you get around this? If you would like to know the solution for that, drop the number 1 in the chat. If you would like to know what a solution is to get around the strict lending guidelines, drop a number 1 in the chat for me, please. Because there is a strategy around it. There is a way around it. Benjamin said, this is a huge deal. Absolutely. Because I know most of you are entrepreneurs. And a lot of you will struggle in 2025 with your business if you don't have capital. A lot of you are going to struggle. What up, Jihad? All right, so let me get to the solution because I got about another 14 minutes. Okay, so here's a solution. You have to know, you have to ensure that you are business bankable. There's no way around it. If you are not business bankable, banks will either get smaller approvals or you will just flat out get denied. It is not just about having a good credit score personally. Banks don't care about a credit score. Again, the data they are taking, it's multiple data points on the business and on the personal side. The personal credit is just one metric. Personal credit is just one metric. So to get around this, you have to be business bankable. Let me give you a couple pointers on what you need to do to be business bankable. Okay, I'm gonna give this one to you for free. All right. 1, you got to get out of the high risk industries. High risk industries. There are 36 high risk industries. And let me tell you an industry that everybody and their mama's been using that some banks are now considering high risk. Consulting. Consulting is now considered at high risk because guess what the bulk of the businesses who defrauded the government for PPP, guess what their industry was? Consulting. So banks are now considering consulting to be a high risk industry. Okay. So next, you need to have a FICO SBSS score, a FICO SBSS score. And banks want to see anywhere from a 130 to 180. They don't care about a Paydex score. They don't care about your Uline accounts and Quill accounts. They don't care. As a matter of fact, did you know there are actually over 3,000 plus lenders and vendors that you can apply for on the business side? There's over 3,000 plus vendors, lenders, and creditors that you can use to build out your business profile. The business profile has to be in a position to where it's bankable now. Banks are taking they're looking at things under a microscope now. Okay. Now I'm gonna also give you a way how you can expedite that. And I'll talk about that here shortly. Okay. So you got to have the business credit intact. Stay out of one of those 36 high risk industries. Consulting is now considered high risk. Banks are looking. Do you have a website? Do you have a website? Banks want to know and make sure that you have a website. Here's another one. You have to, they want to see that you have credit on Experian business as well as on Equifax business. Let me say that again. They want to see that you have credit reporting on Experian business as well as Equifax business. Again, these are the things that you're going to need to be business bankable. Banks are changing their lending guidelines. I'm trying to give you guys all of this information in a very short period of time. Okay. Now, can you expedite this process? Yes, you can. And here's how you can expedite that. You can actually add business primary accounts or business trade lines on your business. You can actually add business primary trade lines on your business. Very few people have access to those. We have access to those. And so again, I probably got about 5 minutes left. So with this being said, I'm actually hosting a free webinar at 6 p.m. Pacific time, which is in the next 30 minutes. Daniel, you on my Instagram? What's that? Okay, can you drop the I'm gonna put the link in the YouTube. I need you to drop it on Instagram. All right, so I'm actually hosting a free webinar that's gonna go a little bit more in depth with these things. And I'm going to be providing some more in-depth solutions, but you got to participate. So you can actually go to Full-Time CEO Challenge, fulltimeceochallenge.com. Register for my free webinar that's coming up in the next 30 minutes. Look, you need to get in position to get bankable because I'm not sure if you guys were on my live yesterday. Let me tell you what I talked about yesterday. I talked about the steps you're going to need to have in order to prepare for this financial economic downturn that's about to take place. A lot of you are already feeling it. And I'm going to just touch on the 4 things that I talked about that you're going to need to do to prepare for this financial storm that's going to impact especially entrepreneurs. Okay. Well, really everybody. One, you have to diversify your investment. If you are not investing, especially in real estate, business is going to shrink up. Okay. Number 2, building an emergency fund, even if you're utilizing credit. Look, right now you have to, if things tight, this is what I tell everybody. If things ever got tight in my life, I'm leveraging my credit. Because I know if I had to, I can rebuild it, restore it, and repair it. Rebuild it, restore it, and repair it. But if you don't think that credit is a lifeline, everybody type in the chat, credit is a lifeline. Credit is a lifeline. So next step, you got to reduce your high interest debt. So imagine being able to get an installment loan to pay off your credit card debt to increase your score, or getting 0% interest credit cards to move the debt over to there to lower your, these are the strategies you are going to have to learn in order to weather this economic storm that is coming. Okay. You're going to have to learn these money strategies. See, most businesses who are doing 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, $20 million, they utilize financial strategies because they're always going to have ebbs and flows. I have a client right now, does $8 million a year. They're tight on cash flow right now. Why? Because they have a lot of expenses. Payroll, marketing, insurance, all of these different things. Most businesses are going to have ups and downs. Now, if you have a business and you've never experienced that, it's probably because you operate as a solopreneur. But if you're trying to grow as a business, you're going to have these things, which is why having access to cheaper money, which is why having access to credit is important. We have to know these different strategies. And then step number 4, as I mentioned, group economics. We have to start understanding the power of group economics. We have to. So if you just joined in, I briefly talked about how banks are starting to tighten up right now. And if you don't understand how to position yourself to get business bankable, it will be very difficult to get access to business credit in 2025. And a couple telltale signs of what's happening right now. Number 1, Chase is putting business credit debt on personal credit. I'm not making this up. Go ask somebody right now. Chase is putting business credit debt on people's personal credit. At one point, only Capital One and Discover was doing this. Now Chase, one of the biggest banks in North America. Okay. Number 2, Bank of America is shutting off cards with little to no usage. Bank of America is notorious for this. They actually did this during the pandemic as well. And number 3, banks are now starting to no longer honor foreign entities. And now you may be asking, Will, what's the purpose of having a foreign entity, and how does that, how is that utilized when it comes to funding? So let's say you want to apply for Key Bank and you live in Las Vegas, like myself. Well, Key Bank is not in Las Vegas's footprint. So typically I would get a foreign filing for, let's say, the state of Utah, which Key Bank is in Utah's footprint. And this is what I actually did. So I got a foreign filing for Utah, was able to apply, caught a flight to Utah, got approved for the line of credit. Now, what are banks doing? They're actually pulling back from allowing people to utilize foreign filings. But I have a solution for that. And if you would like to learn all of these solutions, I need you to meet me on my webinar. It is completely free, $99. You can go to fulltimeceochallenge.com, register, fulltimeceochallenge.com. And let me leave you with this, because I was talking with my team and they said, Will, what if people don't register? I said, that's their loss. We already know what the banks are looking for. We already know that they're going to be playing and trying to play catch up going into the summer months. We already know that the businesses are going to start closing down. We already know that the credit scores are going to get worse. We already know that the money is going to get more expensive. So we're not here to, this is what I will say. You really don't have a choice but to learn how to play the game the right way now, or else things will get very difficult. It is no longer a luxury. Credit is no longer a luxury. It is now a necessity. Somebody type that in the chat. Credit is now a necessity. And if you do not learn how to leverage and play this game, and if you go and look up the definition of the word game, I broke it down yesterday. Essentially, it requires skill, strength, and luck to persevere in any game, the game of life, the game of credit, the game of a sporting game. See, a lot of people haven't had success in business because they lack skill. They lack the mental strength to deal with the ebbs and flows, which if they lack both of those, you will have no luck. See, luck is manufactured by the consistency of the doing. Luck isn't just you praying and thinking, I hope somebody gives me a line of credit. I hope my business prospers. That people think that's luck. That's the TV version of luck. Luck is consistency and persistency clashing, and then things start to happen for you. So if you don't develop the skill of learning how to leverage credit, how to understand the cost of money, how to get the credit that will suit the things that it is you're trying to accomplish, you will always have bad luck in business. Which is why a lot of people have been on a merry-go-round or their hamster wheel of life financially. If you feel you've been on a hamster wheel of life financially, type the word me in a chat. I'm asking for a friend. If you feel like you've been a hamster on the wheel and you're like, man, Will, I just can't seem to get ahead. What is going on? Because you're not getting the right skills. You're doing everything but the right thing. You're doing everything except actually participating. And even when you're participating, you're not putting forth the effort because you just want to show up. You just want to feel good being in the building. Look, you're not going to lose weight just going to the gym. You actually have to go in there and beat up your muscles and do cardio. And then when you leave the gym, you still got to eat right. You got to drink your water. You got to get enough sleep. You got to cut down your calories. You may have to cut out sugar. You may have to cut out liquor. Like you may have to do those type of things. And it takes the exact same type of effort when it comes to you building on what it is you're trying to build financially and economically for you and your family. So again, go to Full-Time CEO Challenge. You still have about 20 minutes to register for my free webinar. And I'm going to give you all some answers on how to deal with what is going on and positioning yourself and dealing with the banks tightening up. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all on this webinar. Peace.